Hi, welcome to the channel again. And if you're new here, welcome for the first time. Today I have my kids' friends here. And I just realized I was walking outside. It's humid. It's more humid than, It's very humid out there today. I actually love it. It's just that like sometimes after you've been out there walking for a while, you get like, the saggy makeup look. Anyways, but today I have my children's kids here. And so if you hear some noise, if you think it's a little bit loud, I'm so sorry. I did tell them to try to keep it down when they're next to the office door. So we'll see how that goes. But if you're here for the first time, welcome. And if you're coming back, welcome back. So today is it's been kind of an eye-opener day. I like to think of, so today is the 19th. And if you do the 9 plus 1, like in numerology, it stands for the number 1. So it's like a brand new, fresh start. And, because everything runs in like a 9 cycle. So yesterday was the 9, it was like the ending, and number 1 is like the new day. And, I think that right now, I think we are all going through this kind of questioning, like, am I on the right path? Am I on the wrong path? Like, who can I trust in these situations to give me like, honestly, good advice? So there's a couple of different factors that I look into when I look into, I just repeated that twice, but when I look into asking for advice from somebody, or when I consider taking the advice of somebody, I look into a couple of different factors. If I'm the one actively seeking out the advice, I will only do it from people who have the trait or have succeeded in the thing that I'm looking to get advice in. And on the other hand, if I'm not actively seeking the advice, but I happen to get it from a passerby or somebody who I'd say random advice from a friend, a family member, like just things that they happen to say that resonate with exactly what we were asking to hear at a certain time, then I would take those snippets into consideration, into high consideration. But if I'm actively seeking out advice, I only actively seek out advice from the people who have achieved, accomplished, or well on their way to the thing that I'm looking to get advice about. For example, if I'm looking to strengthen, let's say, my spiritual side, then I would need to seek out somebody who clearly has either mastered it or well on their way to being a complete master at it. So if I'm looking for spiritual advice from someone who I can't deem as being a peaceful person, a pleasant person, like someone who clearly has their emotions in check, who has their life as stable as they'd like it to, or like in a stable place. Nobody's perfect. It's just that, there you go. I told you they would be loud. No, but it's just that it has to have some kind of consistency towards the main goal that I'm looking for. So I think that that's important to relay to somebody else, because let's say that you're looking to make like $100,000 this year. Would you be asking somebody who's like living off of support from the state? Probably not. And let's say that you're looking to achieve some kind of peace of mind because of some kind of traumatic event that you went through. Would you go to somebody, even it doesn't matter their position, they could be a therapist, but would you still go to a therapist who seems like she's always rushing, she's always stressed out, she has to reschedule your appointments, she has to do this and that, and like she just seems very scattered? Well, I wouldn't. So it doesn't matter like their title or their position, it doesn't matter what they do for a living. I just read the person individually. So if I'm looking for spiritual advice and there's somebody on the street who looks like they've achieved mastery in this, and they seem like they know exactly what they're talking about from a spiritual standpoint, or you can feel the honesty, your intuition can sense that the things that they're saying are coming from an honest place, and they're very, very like, they just feel like like stable people, like maybe money is not a priority and they've never made it one and they refuse to live for the money, but they have a incredibly strong spiritual side. Well, then that's who I'm going for spiritual advice, hands down, because each area is very different, and for somebody to achieve mastery in all those areas, yeah, it happens. But it's not often that they will just be someone that you bump into on the street. So it's important to, like seek out the areas or understand maybe the areas within yourself of where you're looking to get advice, and then seek out different people who have achieved mastery in each area. And that's the thing about mastery, is it's extremely hard to achieve mastery in all the areas of life. And there's an infinite amount of different areas that someone could achieve mastery in their lifetime. So, like for instance, I'm not a tennis player, I'm not even interested in tennis, but if you are and you wanted to achieve mastery in tennis, you wouldn't come to me and you wouldn't come to that. Like it's just that there's so many different areas you could achieve mastery in. So you really have to seek out each individual trait in accordance with what you perceive in a person or perceive as a person's strengths versus their weaknesses. So that's a really important thing that I wanted to say about seeking advice. And I think that kind of goes like hand in hand with making sound goals, because you can make sound goals for like, I want to make $100,000 this year, but if you have your life way out of balance in other areas, then it's going to be very hard to achieve that. And it's like, if you could make $100,000 doing anything in the world, like you could go to a job that you absolutely hate. Would you make $100,000 if you made $100,000 doing it? That's your goal. Okay, so then you have another goal. No, I don't want to just make $100,000 and be miserable, completely out of my mind that year, and like have to work many overnight hours or overtime hours to achieve that goal. So then I'm abandoning or neglecting my family and neglecting my friends and any other responsibilities that I have around the house. Unless you have a strong support system in your house where you and your wife can come to some kind of an agreement on that, especially if you have kids and whatnot, it's going to be completely pointless. Like, so it all goes together that way. Like, when you make goals, make those goals, but then actively seek out advice for those different goals. And that's a very important part, because if you make those goals, but you don't know how to achieve them, that's a problem. And there are a lot of spiritual practices out there that tell you, just make the goal and don't worry about the how. It's like, okay, well, I want to be an auto mechanic next year and I want to make $200,000 doing it, but I don't even know anything about cars. Like, what do you mean I don't have to worry about the how? So I get where they're coming from, that you shouldn't add more anxiety into your brain. Like you shouldn't add more thoughts that produce anxiety in the brain. But you still have to be practical. How are you going to do it? You have to reverse engineer it. You have to like break it down into different segments, because there is going to be a question of how. And so if I genuinely just wanted to go out on a whim and be like, I want to learn about cars and I want to make $200,000 doing it, it's like, yeah, but how? How will you do that? So to the spiritual practices that tell you that the law of attraction is just think of whatever you want and then don't worry about the how, it's like, that's not realistic. That's really not realistic. You can, I understand you can pray for something, you can, and I do believe, I've talked about this in other series, that there's dark energy out there and dark matter, and you really, there's gray matter out there, and there's more going on right here that meets the eye, and but I just don't believe that you don't have to be practical about what you're trying to manifest. So I do think that to give us all hope, absolutely dream big and dream far. Like, honestly, I can't stress that enough. Please don't settle. You should never feel like you have to settle. And so it's important to just go out there, and I think that the more you let go and just allow yourself to jump into the mix of whatever you have brought upon yourself. And by that, I'll give you an example. I was going through a divorce, and I was an online English teacher. I had started an online English teacher like maybe 3 or 4 months prior to the divorce, because I knew and he knew that this is going to end very soon. So I got to figure something else out, because I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, going to online school, and I had just gotten done, and I needed a source of income because we knew that this was coming to a close. And so I started online English teaching, and I'm glad I started when I did, because it did take me about 3 to 4 months, which was so weird, to actually start making a good income off of it, or a sufficient amount. And so after I did, though, it was enough to get me by, but it wasn't anything significant. And then it just so happens that one of my old friends that I used to work with at a hotel had joined Facebook, and he swore he would never. And like, him and his wife wanted to move overseas to live in a country where they could live off of the land and just like be peaceful and at peace. And I loved that dream of theirs. But it didn't turn out that way. And luckily, he had found out that I had told him like, hey, you finally got a Facebook. And he said, yeah, and I'm in real estate, and we're wondering if you would move down by us, and my wife could take care of your kids while you work for me. And that was the deal originally. And then I thought, yeah, but man, I'm not going to have any family support around where you guys live down there. And like, I trusted them 100%. It's just that if it didn't work out with the wife, like, she already had 2 kids of her own. And if it turned out to be too much with 4 kids, I'm not sure how it would work out. Like, looking back in hindsight, I should have took that leap of faith. I think it would have turned out amazing, but regardless, I made a different decision to go over back towards my family and my ex's family side, so that they could all help out in raising the kids. His family not so much, but it doesn't matter. They didn't help out so much, but it doesn't matter, because just having my family there was very supportive. And when I first he asked if I would join real estate, and I was like, well, sure. And I didn't know that I was even manifesting real estate, right? Like, I didn't even know that was like the prize that my eye was on, because I was an online English teacher and it was doing fine. But I wasn't manifesting something fine. I was manifesting something huge, and like something much bigger than that would teach me much greater lessons, that I could really, like, practical 3D lessons that I could carry into many areas of my life and invest into. It's nuts that the things that I've been able to take away from real estate, just being as a realtor to start. So it's like, you don't even know the things that you're manifesting, because they don't show up as the way that you might want them to. But in the grand scheme, like, your intentions are there. Like, I wanted something bigger than online English teaching. I wanted something like huge that I could, that was like, maybe not monetary wise huge, although it was, but maybe not necessarily monetary wise. It was more so that I really desperately wanted like practical application and a way forward, or like to learn how to manage money so that I could do great things going forward. And real estate is like the foundation, like, of the economy, you know, and so everybody's going to need a place to live. Everybody's going to need a piece of the land. That's like everybody's heart's desire, is just to have a piece of the land, right? Of the real estate. And so it was like a very foundational block to where I am today. And it was just like the cherry on the ice cream, honestly, for when I got my MBA, and that was all like academic wise, and then had to step right into the practical application of it. It was an awesome awesome move that I would have never thought of myself. And so that's just like, just one of the things that I wanted to point out, is that maybe the things that we're manifesting right now are not going to come to us in certain ways, but when they come out of the blue like that and everything lines up perfectly, it was like he had houses that he already was willing to, like, he practiced real estate in a different area of the state, and where I was moving to, he already had houses aligned that I was able to take over and list on my own. And I don't know if you know anything about real estate, but as a realtor just starting out, getting houses is like the hardest thing, because everybody wants that experienced realtor. But I had houses lined up already, just starting out. It was like everything fell perfectly. It was a clear sign that, like, whoa, this is flowing so easily. If I were to resist this, like, it would be a slap at an opportunity. Like, you'll just know it. You'll just know it because of the ease, because of how little of I don't want to say little of effort, because you still have to put in the effort if you really, really want something, right? But what I mean is it'll just take little effort for things to come your way, for opportunities to show up. And then after those opportunities show up, put in the effort to keep those opportunities flowing, like to keep them alive, right? So then, sorry, got a low battery. Okay, so that's basically it though. I just wanted to point out that the advice that you're getting from other people has to be in correlation with the goals that you set, and those have to be really pinpointed, because you don't want to just be taking advice on your goals from anybody on all areas of your goals. No, we gotta like have it really narrowly focused. So what goal do you want to accomplish? What advice are you going to seek out? And so then who has mastered or very close to mastering this area of that specific goal? And then once you do that, go to the next one. What next goal were you hoping to accomplish? And you don't have to wait to get advice. It's just that you want the advice to be categorized. So you can get all that advice at one time if you want. Seek out all those people at one time if you want. But make sure that you're categorizing it correctly so that you're not mix matching the advice with the goals, with the different goals that you're trying to accomplish. Okay, so that's all that I have for you today. I hope that this was valuable to somebody out there, even just one person. That's a great thing. So, but definitely leave a comment below. You know, I love those discussions between us, and like, share, subscribe. I can't wait to see you next time. Goodbye.